Toro time. The NFL offseason has officially hit a massive turning point today, June 1st, and it changes everything for the Houston Texans. With post-June 1st salary cap designations now active, our front office has unlocked the financial flexibility to make a championship-level move. Shout out to all our dedicated fans tuning in from Houston to fans worldwide watching this channel. We are looking at a cool $30.2 million in effective cap space, ranking us 8th in the entire league. Why does this matter right now? And which veteran star could be the final piece for our Super Bowl run? That decision revolves around how aggressive the Texans want to be with their newfound fortune. With over $30 million sitting in the vault, we aren't just talking about depth pieces anymore. We are talking about the potential to bring in a game changer who can immediately shift the momentum of our 2026 campaign. The main subject at the heart of this financial windfall is the front office's next move with these remaining free agent targets. We have already had a productive offseason, extending core players and bringing in external talent, but sitting at 8th in the league in effective cap space creates an undeniable temptation. Could Nick Caserio decide to stand pat with the roster he has painstakingly built, or is he preparing to make one final loud statement to the rest of the AFC? The core of this dilemma is simple. Do we trust the current chemistry, or do we prioritize the veteran insurance that could protect us against the unpredictable nature of an NFL season? Every fan knows that championship windows are notoriously short, and passing up the opportunity to add an elite-level veteran when the cap space is readily available is a risk that could haunt the team come January. We need to analyze exactly what these players bring to the table and why the franchise might pivot toward a high-profile signing before the preseason starts. It is not just about filling a roster spot, it is about finalizing a team identity that can survive the long, grueling grind of a full season. The strategy here is clear, but the execution remains a mystery that fans are dying to solve. Let's talk about the first major possibility, a potential reunion with Stefon Diggs. After a season with the New England Patriots where he proved he can still produce over 1,000 yards, despite playing only half the offensive snaps, he remains on the market. While our receiver room is currently loaded with names like Nico Collins, Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel, Tank Dell, and Xavier Hutchinson, adding a veteran like Diggs could be the spark that takes the unit over the top. He knows our system, he has the chemistry, and he knows exactly what it takes to perform in high-pressure moments. However, we have to consider if adding a 14th receiver to a 90-man roster is the best use of resources. This brings us to the why this matters moment. It matters because the Texans are no longer in a building phase. They are in a legitimate championship contention phase. Every single dollar of that $30.2 million in cap space should be viewed as an investment in a Lombardi trophy. If adding a player like Diggs or even a vertical threat at tight end like Jonnu Smith, who brings massive receiving upside despite a down year in Pittsburgh, can maximize the output of our offense, then the price tag is secondary. We need to understand that the goal isn't just to be good, it's to be undeniable. By bringing in a veteran, you aren't just getting talent, you are getting a seasoned mind that understands the nuances of a deep playoff run. If we want to dominate the AFC South and make a splash in the postseason, we have to decide if we are hunting for rings or just filling out the depth chart. Moving to the backfield, the situation with running back depth is one of the most glaring questions on the current roster. We currently rely on David Montgomery and Woody Marks, but behind them, it's a total mystery. If one of those two goes down, the efficiency of our ground game could evaporate overnight. This is why a name like Najee Harris becomes so incredibly intriguing. Yes, he is coming off a torn Achilles, which brings inherent risk, but the Texans don't need him to be the league leader in carries. They need a situational power back who can provide versatility as both a runner and a receiving threat. Think about the impact of a three-man rotation featuring Montgomery, Marks, and Harris. That provides an insurance policy that could literally save our season if adversity hits. This is the difference between a team that makes the playoffs and a team that makes a deep run. The financial flexibility granted by the post-June 1st date allows us to take this kind of calculated risk without jeopardizing our long-term future. It is about building a roster that is injuries-proof to the best of our ability. If we look at the history of recent Super Bowl winners, they all share one common trait: elite depth that holds up when the starters are tired or sidelined. By addressing this position now, we are essentially signaling to the rest of the league that we have zero interest in leaving our fate up to chance. It is a proactive, aggressive move that screams confidence from the front office, and it is exactly the kind of move that championship teams consistently make in June. Defensively, the conversation shifts to the edge, where we have a solid core, but could always benefit from more pass rushing juice. Right now, Dylan Horton and Ali Gay are holding down the edge depth, but the availability of veterans like Von Miller and Jadeveon Clowney is too good to ignore. Von Miller, at 36, proved with the Washington Commanders that he can still be a high-impact rusher in a rotational role, logging 9 sacks while playing limited snaps. Then you have Jadeveon Clowney, who is not only familiar with this city, but has been incredibly productive in his last few years with the Dallas Cowboys. Clowney's 8.5 sacks and limited action show he still has plenty in the tank. Bringing back a former top overall pick like Clowney wouldn't just be a sentimental homecoming, it would be a strategic upgrade to our defensive rotation. The importance of this cannot be overstated. A defense that can rotate fresh, elite bodies off the edge in the fourth quarter of a tie game is a defense that wins championships. We have the cap space to sign a veteran pass rusher to a 1-year deal that allows us to stay competitive without locking ourselves into long-term dead money. This is the definition of a high-reward, low-risk signing. As we look at the division and the rest of the AFC, we have to acknowledge that opposing quarterbacks will be our biggest obstacles. Having an extra pair of experienced hands to generate pressure on 3rd and long is exactly what turns a good defense into a legendary one. It is time to decide if we want to be spectators or challengers. Ultimately, the Texans find themselves in an enviable position where they can either stand by their existing roster or use this $30.2 million to bring in a difference maker who could be the missing piece to a Super Bowl run. Whether it is adding the veteran leadership of Stefon Diggs to our wideout room, stabilizing the backfield with the power of Najee Harris, or fortifying our pass rush with a proven veteran like Jadeveon Clowney or Von Miller, the path to greatness is right in front of us. This is the part of the offseason where true contenders separate themselves from the rest of the pack. The flexibility provided by the post-June 1st date is a golden ticket that most teams don't have. It is a chance to rectify any lingering concerns and push all our chips into the center of the table. We have the talent, we have the staff, and now we have the money to make it happen. The question now moves to you, the fans. Which of these veterans do you think would have the biggest impact on our Super Bowl hopes? Or would you prefer we save that money and trust the young guys we currently have on the roster? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. I read every single one of them. Do not forget to hit that like button if you are excited about the possibilities, and make sure you are subscribed so you never miss an update as we continue our charge toward the championship. Toro time.